Hard-boiled Haggerty in the ring now.
Today is the heyday of the pretty boy.
Kowalski is called killer for Black Stanley of Chicago.
She likes it.
Oh, boy, that can hurt.
Right here at the ringside while we go in for a riot of roughhouse that's flatly called wrestling.
I wasn't necessarily born in Cuba, I was made in Cuba, and born a few months later after my parents moved from Cuba to Florida. My mom was Cuban and my father was from Spain. At the age of, I want to say I was 13 or 14, and Fonzie, Bill Alfonso, we would go every week to the Armory. Wednesday morning they would film on 106 North Albany, the world famous sportatorium. We would go and we'd be against the wall watching the matches, and maybe 5 people down there was Hulk Hogan. He was watching the same matches. I used to tell people, this is what I'm gonna do when I grow up, I'm gonna be a pro wrestler. And they said, oh yeah, right, yeah. I had an example. I had in junior high school, my PE coach told me, you're never gonna amount to be nothing. And I said, wow, what a thing to tell somebody in junior high school, right? So my first year in the business, I made like, I wanna say 50 grand. In 1978, that's a lot of money. And I went back to that school and I just told, I walked in and told the teacher, I made 50 grand last year. How much did you make? I said, I just wanted you to know that you told me I wasn't gonna never become nobody. Well, now I'm somebody in wrestling. I admired King Curtis. He helped me so much, but I admired the way his interviews were so intense and the way he bled every night, and to me, one of the vicious heels in our business. I would say he would be right the top heel for me. But I've seen the great heels like Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes together before Dusty became a babyface. In Puerto Rico, I was there with the best. Carlos Colon to me is the Hulk Hogan of Puerto Rico. There's so many greats, you know what I mean? And then there I had to not only wrestle Carlos Colon in barbed wire matches with no ropes, way before ECW or any of those companies. I mean, I'm talking about hardcore barbed wire matches. And they didn't gimmick the deals or nothing. It was like you hit that and your shirt was ripped and you'd be bleeding out your back. I got to wrestle Ric Flair to an hour draw in the Pacific Northwest for Don Owens, who was one of the best promoters I ever wrestled for. And we did an hour and I was wrestling as Top Gun. I'm the only guy for Don Owens that wrestled as the Destroyer and held every title, as the Assassin and held every title. And that was Don that gave me those names. That's, I would say, Don, but there's already a Destroyer. Don, there's already Jody Hamilton, God bless. I don't care, this is my Portland wrestling. You're gonna be who I tell you to be, okay. And then I lost a loser leave town, went to Japan for 5 weeks. I already knew when I left, the movie Top Gun had just came out. So I said, that's what I'm gonna come back as. And I did, and that was like, the grappler you had here earlier, he could have tell you, I was on fire as every character, but as Top Gun, it was like, wow, because of the movie, and I'd play that, and I was selling pictures up the ass. And I got to, wrestle so many greats there. Roddy Piper, and one of my most prestigious matches was me and Andre the Giant teamed up in Japan against Antonio Inoki and Sakaguchi. He was great. What a tag match that was. God bless Andre. Andre was so good to me. And, and then I got to wrestle him all over the States. Be me and Rip the Crippler Oliver, God bless, against him and Jay Youngblood. For me, those are like really highlights. We had one-on-one matches that were very excellent, and he liked me so much. He'd be, he'd be way in the other side, and we'd be over here in the other, and he'd be doing squats before they let anybody in the building, and I'd be like doing stretching, And he'd scream, assassin! You know what I mean? Because he liked me and, he knew. Let me tell you, this is my 3rd or 4th year to the CAC. I believe the first year I was here, Nick Buckwinko was the president, Brian Blair. 15 years ago, or Red Bastien tried to get me to come, and I didn't even understand what he wanted me to do. And then when I came, I got to see people that you don't see anywhere. Besides the great wrestling fans from all over the world, but wrestlers that I would have never seen because we're all here together. And I think the CAC, a nonprofit organization, and all the great people that help that are falling on hard times. And I had number one respect for B. Brian Blair, the president of the CAC, and everybody around involved with it. It's such a great deal, and I always say, really and truly, if you've never been to the CAC, you need to come at least once and then you're hooked, because it's that good. Fantasy, she's been my wife for 30 years. She has managed me everywhere, but not only did she manage me, she has managed Barbarian, she has managed Tatanka for a match, and a guy named Navy SEAL. She's a great manager. If you call her valet, you might get a chair on your head, because she's not really a valet. She's really a manager. As a professional wrestler that did all kind of characters, traveled all over the world, and have learned, I went through some bad roads to get to where I'm at today. Pro wrestling is my life, still to this day. I still have match every now and then. I want to remember me as a great person in and out of the ring. Loves all the fans, because without all the fans, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, wrestling wouldn't be what it is.